if one realizes himself as the void, he is untouched. So why would he be afraid of the void?
It's not he who's untouched, it's that which is untouched. It's not that the personality or the ego structure identifies with the Absolute and says, I am never touched. It's that that never comes into contact with anything. You see the distinction? So you can't gather this attitude of safety around it, where you're protected from the world. You can, but that's going to lead to that renunciation style of living that I was describing. You have to let go of the idea that you have to go around being convinced that you never existed, that you never were born. That only applies to one specific taste of enlightenment. The other is that you are eternally existing and that you are constantly flowering as the world in relationship to everything else. That too is eternal. So I always tell people, don't get stuck in the void. The void is great. I'm not arguing against it, but when I hear this anti-relativity talk, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound wholesome to me. It sounds like there's some distortion going on. And I think it's the male ego-based teachings that are located at the source of those assertions that's really trying to promote its own agenda in the world as a philosophy. Mm-hmm. So it's one thing to have a transcendent experience. It's another thing to then draw a philosophy saying that, oh, may I never be touched by anything again because I was never born. One's going to lead, that latter statement is going to lead to a very peculiar person in the world. Someone you just can't stand.
Maybe it's that formulation around the experience of the void happens because it's so beautiful.
What you just stated very nicely was that the nectarous quality of that nothingness will keep on luring you back into it. And who are we to resist? You should take it. You should take it as far as it wants to take you. Just dissolve totally and forever, just like those scriptures describe. But there's going to come a point where you climax in that, where you really know who you are, and it never comes and goes. Now what do? Are you going to go around talking about how that feels and trying to generalize it into a world philosophy and trying to tell anyone, don't touch anything, don't relate, right? Don't get involved? Or are you going to then look for the Shakti within that to find out how that absolute turns into manifesting power, how it turns into the creative force? Because ultimately, that if we're really true Advaita Vedantists, we are not interested in a division between the world of form and formless being. We are trying to bridge that. Now you need energy to bridge that. There's two ways to bridge it. You attack the world and you kill it and you say it never existed. Or you come into the energetic appreciation of how things arise. And how do you do that? By feeling and tasting and knowing your own Shakti, and that it is coming out of that. That's what's animating all your actions. And so you can start to get a feel for how the Absolute is living you as energy. It's possessing you as energy. You never were independent on that level either. So most spiritualists want to claim independence, absolute independence into the void, right? I was never touched, but you're also, what's beating your heart? What's breathing your breath? That's the Shakti. Shaktis, all kinds of Shaktis have taken hold and are just basically playing that body-mind like a musical instrument for their own enjoyment and satisfaction. Yeah. Just like when a bird sings. You know how great it is when you get up in the morning and you hear a bird sing? Why is it so beautiful? Why is that song so unpolluted? It's because the bird is totally possessed by something that has nothing to do with human mind. It's mere energy that's singing, without any mind in it. So that's how a human life can become in that energetic condition also.